tonight on First at 9 this Saturday, the 16th of November 2024. Inaugurating change. The inaugural session of the 10th Parliament to commence on the 21st of November. President Anura Dissanayake to deliver the policy statement at 3 p.m. The list dilemma. Victoria's NPP to reveal their national list MPs tomorrow. Namal named SLPP's national list parliamentarian. Glass ceiling shattered. NPP victory paves way for highest female representation in parliament. Several other election records also set. The election fallout. SJB expresses their readiness to support the government. Mahinda Ananda to quit politics. Ashu calls for UNP and SJB to join forces.
Chilo Dairy, Sri Lankawama, Kiren Perata. Obe Vishwasi dinu Sensodyne, then Lagamati Pharmacy in Labagata Hacker.
Kanta Parisang karagathot? Api Parisang.
Asian Paints Causeway Aquasafe, Vesat Mattu Gatharat Disney.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to Derana First at 9. I'm Aditya Drisinghe joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. Now taking you straight to your top story this evening. After an astounding win in the parliamentary polls and turning a new page in Sri Lanka's political journey, President Anura Dissanayake is expected to present the government's policy statement during the inaugural session of the 10th Parliament, scheduled to be held on the 21st of November. The head of state will chair the opening session of Parliament and will set the tone for legislative priorities through the government's policy statement.
The inaugural session of the 10th Parliament, which will debate, draft, amend and pass key legislations as the country's supreme legislative body, is scheduled to be held on the 21st of November under the patronage of President Anura Dissanayake. Pursuant to the powers vested in the President by the Constitution, the President will chair the opening session of Parliament and will set the tone for legislative priorities through the government by policy statement. A significant feature of the incoming parliament will be that a majority of the legislators are freshmen to political office. Inaugurated in 1982, the Parliament of Sri Lanka, located in Sri Jayawardhanapura Kotte, is symbol of pride to all Sri Lankans locally and abroad. Designed in the style of regional modernism, Sri Lanka's parliament building was designed by the world-renowned local architect Jeffrey Bawa.
This is the seat of the Speaker of the House. The head of state addresses the Parliament on certain occasions. However, the President will not sit on this seat. Instead, a separate seat carrying the emblem of the Leader of the Republic will be placed here for the President to sit.
During the inaugural session of Parliament, seats are assigned to all MPs systematically. The allocation of seats in the House depends on the number of seats secured by each party or group in the parliamentary polls. According to the Parliament Sergeant-at-Arms Kushan Jayaratne, positions and offices held by MPs in Parliament and the government, along with the seniority of each MP, will be considered when assigning seats to the 225 members of Parliament.
There are several factors to be considered when allotting seats to MPs in Parliament. When making those considerations, priority will be given to the positions held by MPs at any given time. A separate seat is reserved for the head of state as well. Apart from the seat allocated to the Speaker of the House, the most senior seat in Parliament is reserved for the President. That seat will be the 8th seat from the Speaker's chair. The Prime Minister's seat, which is only second to the President's in seniority, will be the 7th from the Speaker's chair. Several other seats are reserved specifically for the Leader of the House and the Chief Organizer of the ruling party. Seats are also reserved to the members of the opposition as well. The 8th seat from the Speaker's chair, right opposite the seat reserved for the President, is reserved for the Leader of the opposition. The seat next to the opposition leader's seat and the 7th in sequential order from the Speaker's chair is reserved for the Chief Organizer of the opposition.
Electronic voting equipment and a computer for each seat are among the several equipment provided for each MP. Most notably, Sri Lanka was the first country in the South Asian region to introduce a simultaneous interpretation to its legislature.
මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙකුට පුළුවන් ජාතික ඇඳුම අඳින්න.
Members of Parliament must wear the national attire or full suit to Parliament. MPs are mandated to be professionally dressed with long-sleeved shirts fastened to the top. The attire should also be light-coloured and classic. Female representatives are welcome to wear light-coloured saris to the parliamentary premises.
මන්ත්‍රීවරයන් ගත්තොත් ඒත් ලාපාට ඇඳුමක් තමයි අඳින්න ඕනේ. ඒ ඇඳුම සාරියක් විය යුතුයි.
The general public are allowed to access the public galleries in Parliament and witness firsthand how their representatives make use of the powers bestowed upon them by the right to franchise. The live telecast of the Parliamentary Assembly is carried out by a state-of-the-art camera setup and a control room.
මේ අපේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව
The Parliament of Sri Lanka is a symbol of international pride for all Sri Lankans. Those who are elected to Parliament are chosen by the general public. This is our Parliament.
The Parliamentary Communications Department announced that the President is expected to present the government's policy statement at the inaugural session of the 10th Parliament on the 21st of November at 3 p.m. The highly anticipated address serves as a comprehensive presentation of the government's vision and strategic direction, while also offering the President an opportunity to detail the administration priorities and plans of both Parliament and the public. In the meantime, Sri Lanka Police remains on high alert to respond to any security threats in the post-election period.
During the post-election period, within a week following the release of the overall results of the parliamentary polls, the general public is advised not to hold public meetings or rallies. The public should refrain from organising and conducting vehicle parades, rallies or marches. Police officers deployed on special duties will ensure public safety. Special security measures will be implemented in certain identified police domains. We request the general public to refrain from engaging in any violent activities and urge them to act in a peaceful manner.
Horizon Campus 2024 Intake 2. Register now.
පිරිපුන් ජීවිතයකට ඔබ සමගින් පෙරට Union Assurance.
Welcome to Cinnamon Life, South Asia's biggest entertainment hub, where awe awaits.
චන්දුරුසුමේ කාගෙන් මන අපේ සිග TV සඳහා සුපිරි ඩීල්.
Sadaharita Plantations Limited, celebrating 22 years of your trust.
The National People's Power, which secured 18 nationalist seats in Parliament after claiming an overwhelming victory at the polls, is set to announce their nationalist parliamentarians tomorrow. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna announced that the party's national organizer Namal Rajapaksa will be their nationalist MP. Meanwhile, several other parties who claimed nationalist seats at the polls are yet to decide on who their nationalist MP will be. The Election Commission informs the General Secretaries of all parties to submit the list of names of members who will be entering the Parliament through the national list.
Based on the result claimed by the National People's Power from the 2024 general election, they are entitled to appoint 18 members from their national list to Parliament. According to the NPP, they are expected to announce their national list appointments tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Samagijana Balawegaya, who claimed 35 parliamentary seats in the election, claimed 5 nationalist seats. However, they are yet to arrive at a decision on who they will appoint to Parliament through their national list. In the meantime, the New Democratic Front, which secured 3 parliamentary seats by claiming 500,835 votes, will be able to appoint 2 members as parliamentarians from their national list. Against such a backdrop, a meeting was held today at former President Ranil Wickremesinghe's office on Flower Road to discuss who their national list appointments will be and key details about their political future.
කොහොමද ඉදිරි ගමන් මඟ ගැන තමයි සාකච්ඡා කරේ. හරි හෝ වැරදි අපේ මතය අනුව අපි හිතනවා මහ ජනතාව ගත්තු තීරණේ එය කෙසේද භුක්ති විඳින්නේ කියලා තමයි අපි පරීක්ෂා කරමින් සිටින්නේ.
Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, which secured a single nationalist seat, has decided to appoint Namal Rajapaksa as an MP through the party's national list.
ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී පක්ෂයක් හැටියට මේ ජනවරම අපි පිළිගන්නවා. ඒ වගේම අපිට ලැබිලා තියෙන ජාතික ලයිස්තු මන්ත්‍රී ධූරය නාමල් රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමා පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක් ලෙස පත් කිරීම සඳහා මේ අවස්ථාවේදී පක්ෂය තීන්දුව කළා තියෙනවා.
The Sarvajana Balaya, which contested the election under the leadership of Dilip Jayavira, too received a nationalist seat based on their election result. However, they are yet to decide on who will represent their alliance in the 10th Sri Lanka Parliament from the national list. In the meantime, both the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress and the Lanka Tamilarsu Kachchi claimed a nationalist seat each. According to ITAC, they will be announcing their nationalist parliamentarian tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Election Commission informs the General Secretaries of all parties to submit the list of names of members who will be entering the Parliament through the national list.
We have informed the general secretaries of the political parties which contested the election to send their respective nominees for the 29 national list seats. The party general secretary or the leader of the independent group can draft their list from the 29 nominations they submitted to us. If not, the party general secretary can appoint a person to parliament through the national list if such a person submitted his or her nomination to contest the election but failed to secure his or her parliamentary seat at the polls. However, if a person's name has not been included among the official list of nominees contesting the parliamentary polls from the particular party or among the list of names published in the same party's national list, the name of that person cannot be published in the Gazette concerning the appointment of MPs through the national list.
The NPP's monumental rise from securing just 3% of the vote in the 2020 general election demonstrates a significant shift in public sentiment. Further, the NPP's meteoric rise to the helm of overwhelming political power went down in history as the first time that a single party secured two-thirds majority in parliament. With that, here's a brief insight into the NPP's record-breaking victory. At the 2024 general election, the National People's Power, led by President Anurukumara Dissanayake, displayed a monumental rise from having just 3 seats in the 9th Parliament to claiming supermajority in the incoming 10th Parliament. The NPP secured 6,863,186 votes, which is the highest ever obtained by a single political party in a general election, surpassing the 6,853,690 votes claimed by Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna in 2020. This also accounted for a record-breaking 61.56% of the total vote, surpassing the previous benchmark of 60.33% recorded by the United People's Freedom Alliance in 2010. In terms of the NPP's dominance in districts and constituencies, the left-leaning party won 21 of the 22 electoral districts, breaking the UPFA's 2010 record of victories in 19 districts. The NPP only ceded Batiklo, which was claimed by the Ilanke Tamilarusu Katchi. Further, the party also claimed 152 constituencies, breaking the record set by the United People's Freedom Alliance in 2010, where the UPFA claimed 136. With regard to parliamentary seats and national list representation, the National People's Power claimed a total of 159 seats in parliament, which include 141 seats representing the electoral districts and 18 national list seats. With that, they became the first single party under Sri Lanka's proportional representation system to secure a two-thirds majority in parliament. This surpasses the SLPP's 2020 record of 145 seats and 17 national list seats. Meanwhile, with regard to the preferential votes, Vijitha Herath, who contested from the Gampaha district, made history by claiming 716,715 votes, the highest ever recorded by a candidate in a Sri Lankan parliamentary election. Herath broke the record set by former Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa in the 2020 general election by claiming 527,364 votes from the Kurunegala district. Meanwhile, Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, who contested from the Colombo district, claimed 655,289 votes. The 10th Parliament of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka will see increased female representation since 21 female MPs were elected, which is the highest in Sri Lanka's parliamentary history. Among them, 19 represent the National People's Power, including prominent figures such as Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, Kaushalya Ariratna and Samanmali Gunasinghe. The 2 female MPs in Parliament representing the opposition are Rohini Kumari Vijayaratna and Chamindrani Kiriyalla, who were elected from the Samagi Jana Balawegaya.
Fast track your career from O-Levels with eSoft.
After O-Levels, start your Australian degree in just 8 months with ACBT's Foundation Program. Enroll now before it's too late. Call 071 115 1234 for Colombo or 077 011 3223 for Kandy.
Diabetol, සීනිවලින් පරිස්සම්වන ඔබට අමතක නොවන පෝෂණය.
Prime Group ලංකාවේ ප්‍රථම වතාවට හඳුන්වා දෙන land leasing ලේසියෙන් මීටමක්.
Single 1111 up to 60% off from the 11th November to the 17th of November.
Leader of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, Sajith Premadasa, felicitated the incumbent president-led National People's Power for achieving the party's historic victory at this year's parliamentary election and being able to secure the majority in parliament. Issuing a communique, Premadasa claimed the new government has the ability to overcome the country's obstacles at the moment and stated
that the Samagi Janabalawegaya will give its utmost support to the new government for good governance that will consist of civil rights protection.
In a statement, the leader of the Samagi Janabalawegaya, Sajith Premadasa, extended the party's wishes to the National People's Power led by President Anurukumar Dissanayake for being able to secure the victorious majority in the country's supreme legislature and stated that the current government has the strength to build the country and the good governance that the public expected. He claimed that the current government has the ability to overcome the difficulties that are faced by the country at the moment and believes that the NPP government has understood the challenge of fulfilling the policies and programs based on the promises made to the people of the country. Premadasa stated that the Samagi Janabalawegaya wishes that the government would keep their promises of their party's manifesto, a thriving nation, a beautiful life for the country's population of 22 million. He further stated that the main opposition party, the Samagi Jana Sandhaniya, led by the Samagi Janabalawegaya, will give its utmost support to the new government for good governance that will consist of civil rights protection based on democracy outside of the parliament and the protection of social justice. Premadasa also recalled on how the former government used the two-thirds majority to legislate laws which infringed on the rights of the citizens and drew attention to the concerns raised by the incumbent president as a member of the then opposition when such legislation was passed. The Samagi Janabalawegaya leader also thanked the public who voted for his party to secure 1.9 million votes and 40 seats in parliament by believing in the party's policies, program and the leadership during this crucial election. He emphasized how Samagi Janabalawegaya is committed to working with strong determination for the future of the country's citizens and children and also to protect the value systems of superior democracy.
The Constitutional Council has approved the recommendation to appoint Justice Mrudu Fernando as the Chief Justice. Justice Fernando took oath as the acting Chief Justice before President Anurukumar Dissanayake on the 10th of October 2024. Justice Fernando is the second woman to hold the position of Chief Justice in Sri Lanka's history after Shirani Bandaranayake in 2011. Fernando joined the Attorney General's Department as a State Counsel where she served for 30 years, having been promoted to Senior State Counsel, Deputy Solicitor General, Additional Solicitor General and Senior Additional Solicitor General. She was appointed a President's Counsel while serving as an Additional Solicitor General. She was later appointed as a Justice of the Supreme Court by former President Maithripala Sirisena. Following the crucial 2024 parliamentary election yesterday, former Member of Parliament Mahindananda Alutgamage announced his decision to retire from active politics. Meanwhile, speaking to media, Executive Committee member of the UNP, Professor Ashu Marasinghe extended invitations to SJB leader Sajith Premadasa to join hands with the United National Party.
Following the 2024 parliamentary polls, it has come to my attention that the people of the Kandy district no longer require the services rendered by the Alutgamage family, which had been at the helm of active politics in the district for 7 decades. Throughout my political career, I've always respected the people's mandate. I always held the view that I would engage in politics as long as the people stand with me. Thereby, respecting the people's decision made during this election, I have decided to step down from active politics. I wish the best to all my supporters who assisted me throughout this journey.
Meanwhile, representatives of several other political parties also shared their views and opinions on the current political situation of the country.
ඉතිහාසයේ කවදාටත් වඩා මහජන බලයට ගරු කරන ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය සංකේතවත් කරන නීති ආධිපත්‍ය ගරු කොට ගත්ත පාර්ලිමේන්තුවක් මෙවර අපිට නිර්මාණය කරගන්න අවස්ථාව ලැබුණා.
මෙච්චර කල් වැට් එක අඩු කරගන්න බෑ, පෙට්‍රල් මිල අඩු කරන්න බෑ, අරක කරන්න බෑ, පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ බලයක් නැහැ කිය කෙන්දිරි ගගා හිටියා. දැන් කෙන්දිරි ගන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. ඔන්න බලේ දීලා තියෙනවා ජනතාව 3න් 2ක උපරිම බලයක්.
දෙන්න කිව්වේ දිනන්න ලොවෙත් නැති විදියට දීලා තියෙන ඔය විදියටම ඒ නිසා අපි කියනවා ඒ බලාපොරොත්තු ඒ විදියටම රකිමින් ලොවෙත් නැති විදියට මේ රට හදනවා හදලා සතුටින් ජීවත් වෙන්න පුළුවන් රටක් හදන්න අපි වැඩ කරනවා.
මම විපක්ෂයේ മന്ത്രിවරයෙක් හැටියට මගේ සම්පූර්ණ සහයෝගය ඒ ජනතාවගේ අභිලාෂයන් ඉෂ්ට කිරීම සඳහා මම ලබා දෙන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මේ අලුත් සංස්කෘතිය ඉස්සරහට අරගෙන යන්න මගේ සම්පූර්ණ දායකත්වය ලබා දෙන්න සූදානම් බව මම දැනුවත් කරන්න කැමතියි.
මේ මීඩියා දිහා බලාපොරොත්තු වුණාද?
නෑ ඉතින් අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙච්ච ගාන හම්බුණානේ අපිට.
මාලිමාවේ ජයග්‍රහණය ගැන මොකද ඔබතුමාගේ අදහස?
හොඳයි අලුත් අය ඉඩ දෙන්න එපා බලන්න.
කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන් වේද අලුත් මුණු වලට?
පුළුවන් පුළුවන් අයියෝ.
මාලිමාව ලබපු ජයග්‍රහණය 103 ඉඳලා මෙච්චර උඩට ආපු එක ගැන මොකද හිතෙන්නේ?
ඒ රටේ ජනතාවනේ ඡන්දය දීලා තියෙන පිට මිනිස්සු නෙවෙයි. ඉතින් මම හිතනවා ජනතා මතයට අපි ගරු කරන්න ඕන.
ඔබතුමාලා මේ සටන අත්හරිනවද මොකද ඉදිරි?
පිස්සු.
දේශපාලනේ සමුගන්නවද?
නෑ එහෙම ලේසියෙන් සමුගන්නෙත් නෑ.
අපිට අභියෝගයක් තියෙනවා සජබේ සහ UNP එකතු කිරීම අනිවාර්යෙන් කළ යුතුයි. මම මේ අද ප්‍රසිද්ධිය ආරාධනා කරනවා සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහත්මයාට සාකච්ඡාවට එන්න සජබේ UNP එකයි එක ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙලා අලිය හදමු නැවත UNP එක.
The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce congratulates the National People's Power led by President Anurukumara Dissanayake on securing an overwhelming mandate and majority in Parliament through the parliamentary polls 2024. Releasing a statement, the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce stated that the mandate of the people reflects the united expectations towards governance, democratic values, anti-corruption and uplifting the economy. The chamber added that as the premier business chamber in Sri Lanka, the Ceylon Chamber stands ready to collaborate with the new administration to foster economic stability, inclusive growth and sustainable development. Further, the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce appreciates the Election Commission and other state institutions for conducting a peaceful election. Now, similarly, the National Chamber of Exporters say they remain steadfast in their commitment to working closely with the newly elected government to strengthen Sri Lanka's export sector and contribute to the nation's economic growth. In a statement to congratulate the newly elected government, the Chamber said the 2024 general election stands as a testament to the strength of Sri Lanka's democratic principles and the commitment of its people to shape the future of the nation through their right to vote. Further, National Chamber of Exporters expressed their readiness to provide its expertise and collaboration in shaping policies that will empower exporters and drive sustainable development. Now here's a look at some local corporate news in brief. Nations Trust Bank PLC reported a strong performance for the 9 months ending the 30th of September 2024, achieving a profit after tax of 12 billion rupees, up 29% year-on-year. The CEO of the company claims that the bank's financial performance is supported by its strong capital position with Tier 1 capital at 15.85% and a total capital adequacy ratio of 17.12%. Meanwhile, diversified conglomerate Sunshine Holdings PLC posted consolidated revenue of 30.1 billion rupees for the 6 months ending the 30th of September 2024, an increase of 6.8% year-on-year. Gross profit for the period in review increased by 6.2% year-on-year to 9.1 billion rupees, with the gross profit margin holding steady at 30.4%. The group reported profit after tax for the period of 2.9 billion rupees, a 19.6% year-on-year decrease, primarily impacted by higher taxation in the agribusiness sector. As a part of its CSR initiative, A Breath to the Ocean, Sampath Bank, together with the Department of Wildlife Conservation, the Sri Lanka Air Force, Sri Lanka Navy, the Police Life-Saving Unit, the Department of Oceanography and Marine Geology, Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Services and Technology of the University of Runa, hosted its 4th coral restoration project at Marble Beach in Trincomalee recently. These efforts are a part of a broader initiative to enhance oceanic biodiversity and mitigate the impacts of climate change by planting new live corals into deteriorating reefs to foster a healthier marine environment. Designed for long-term sustainability, the project aims to combat climate change and support ecotourism, fostering economic development at the grassroots level. That's all the news we have for you tonight. Thank you. Have a great night.